Good afternoon, everyone. Just giving some people some time to come on board to our live program today, and we are talking about your self-esteem shows. Yeah, it's a very interesting program today, and we really want to help guide you and help develop your self-esteem. So many of us suffer from poor self-esteem. Hi, Liana. Don't forget to share as you come on board. Yeah. So we really want to talk about that topic today. Your self-esteem shows. Yeah. So we want to give some people some more time to come on board and really and truly, participate and be a part of what we're doing today. All right. So just hold on. Give some people a few minutes. Came on a little late because I wasn't seeing my topic. I wasn't seeing my topic coming up on the tablet, so I have to use my laptop today. Yeah. Hi Jill, thanks for joining us today. Always a pleasure having you. Yeah. All right. Guys, give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have 3 people on. We just want to get like about maybe 2 or 3 more, and then we would start our program today. All right. I don't know about you guys, but the days are very hot, isn't it? Oh my word, yes. It is extremely, extremely, extremely hot. You're putting on your makeup and you're sweating. It's like, wow. Yeah? All right. Okay, so we have 4 people. So I'm going to start. So I don't want to keep you guys too long. All right? And please, as you come on board, please share, share, share. Nice? Okay, good. So we're talking about self-esteem. Now, self-esteem affects us in all areas of our lives, whether we want to believe it or not. Sometimes somebody might say something to trigger something, and we react or we respond in a negative way. And a lot of times we take it the wrong way because we have not worked on our self-esteem. Some people have very good self-esteem, some people have very low self-esteem. And because of that, you find we have insecurities in certain areas of our lives. Some people generally have good self-esteem, but in certain traits, certain parts of their personality and their character traits, you find that there are some insecurities. They might feel they're not good enough. Yeah, they might feel that they're inadequate. They might feel that might be hard on themselves, always critical of themselves. Good. So those are the different areas of self-esteem. We want to look at it. And I did 4 scenarios. You guys like these scenarios, right? So these scenarios help to bring home the application of the message. All right? Good. So self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, or the opinion you have about yourself. And sometimes, you ask people to tell me about yourself, and you'll be amazed. Some people don't know. And if they do know, it's always very negative. Everyone has times when they feel low or they find it hard to believe in themselves, and it happens. And this stems from your upbringing and how you were nurtured during your childhood. If you were affirmed as a child and told how proud your parents were of you, or how special you are, or that you did a great job at home, it makes such a difference in developing and building that foundation for self-esteem. And it's so important for parents, and even during this time when children got their C results, to encourage them, and they may not have passed for their first choice, and you may know that that child got very distracted and you were talking to him or her and they weren't listening, and these are the results, or it's just that, these are just the results. That is not a time to say, you see, you because of you didn't apply yourself more, this is what you're going to get. No, you are interfering with their self-esteem. They're always going to feel that they're not good enough, and it doesn't matter what they put forward, they're always going to feel that pain. And I had that experience as a young girl, as I said to you guys, when I got my GC results, what one of my relatives said to me, and it affected me tremendously. However, I used it to push myself and to develop myself more. Good, not everybody will be capable of doing that. So what it does, what creates our self-esteem to be shaken in a poor state is the way in which we were formed and the way in which we were told to see ourselves. Hi, Tasha. Therefore, depending on what is said to us, how we are treated by others, what we tolerate from others shows what state of our self-esteem is in. And that is why when we have children, and even though those children might be in a rebellious state, even though those children might be going through different things, what we speak into their lives and what we say to them is going to really and truly affect their self-esteem. So sometimes you may love your child and you may try to be doing the right thing and the best thing to that child, but it is only interfering with his self-esteem. You ain't no good. Waste of time. You're just like your father. I know you're the turn out, so you're not listening. Listen. You're not helping his self-esteem. Sometimes you need to walk away. Sometimes you need to talk less. Right? Because we do things and we say things to our children. We do it to our employees. We do it to our loved ones. We do it to our spouses. And we do these things and we interfere with self-esteem. Now, people with a good self-esteem generally feel positive about themselves and about life. This makes them much more resilient and better able to cope with life's up and down. Because these people, and you meet that person, they have a good self-esteem, they feel good about themselves, and they're able to carry themselves well, they're very self-confident, they know who they are, they have a good self-image. You know why is that? Because of the foundation that was laid ever since they were a child. And I was watching this Facebook video of this mother, and she was combing her child's hair. And she said, okay, let's do our affirmations and our declarations. I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. And she kept, every day they would do that from home until she dropped her off to school. That child she's building a good self-esteem in the mind and in the heart of her child. So even if somebody in school say, you ugly, I don't like your hair too big, your hair too curly, it doesn't matter to that child. That child will respond and say, I am beautiful, I am gorgeous. Because you know why? She believes it. And that's the thing about self-esteem. Because when people who we look up to say things to us, we believe it. And that interferes with our worth, and it interferes with our value, our self-value, and how we see ourselves. So if you find you are somebody who, you're very defensive when people speak to you about your self-image and different things, it means that you're very insecure about it. You did not deal with it. And whatever was said to you as a child affects you now as an adult. So your self-esteem has been tampered with. But that is okay. You are an adult now. We could deal with it. Yeah? Good. So those with poor self-esteem, however, are often much more critical of themselves. They find it harder to bounce back from challenges and setbacks. This may lead to avoid difficult situations. That can, however, actually decrease their self-esteem and still make it even worse because of how they feel about themselves. And sometimes your child might be a bit shy, and some children are just generally shy, but they might be overly shy, And it could be their self-esteem. And there's some children just naturally feel that way, that they have no worth, that they have no, so you have to do a little more work on them. And I'm doing the kids mentorship. And one parent said to me, she said, I want my son to do a one-on-one. He doesn't do well in groups. So I have to work on his self-esteem. I have to really help him develop and feel good about himself. Listen, if you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to dress well, you're not going to look well, you're not going to smell good, you're not going to speak good, you're going to always be speaking things that are negative. And when people behave like that, you really need to look at them. They don't have a good self-esteem. So they will never have, if they don't have anything good to say about themselves, they wouldn't have anything good to say about you. Good? So a lack of self-esteem can therefore influence how people behave and to mention what they achieve and not to mention what they achieve in life. So it is important to work on your self-esteem because it can cause us to lose good opportunities and really diminish good relationships. Because if you go around with these, with your self-esteem being very low, people don't want to be around you after a while. Good? So let's look at ways in which our self-esteem shows. Yes. So I did 4 scenarios. You guys like these scenarios, right? So the way your self-esteem shows could be through constructive criticism. Jenny has been transferred to another department. However, she has to do a handover to her new supervisor. Hi, Onika. The new supervisor asked Jenny some pointed questions concerning the way in which the procedures were followed and also the way in which tasks were delegated, right? Jenny becomes offended while doing the handover and is very defensive about her role. Jenny's self-esteem begins to show. The new supervisor has a wealth of experience and she needs to understand clearly the challenge that is ahead of her. She just needs to understand. So, when you come into a new position, you want to get more information. So she's just asking questions. Jenny gets offended. She takes a defense, She is not questioning Jenny's performance, nor the way she did things. She is merely asking questions, and the answers will give her a better position in her new role. Jenny feels personally criticized. But it's not about Jenny. It is about the way the procedures are set up. And this is not her concern, not Jenny's performance. And you see, this is what Jenny don't understand. Jenny feels that she's being attacked. Jenny feels that she's being targeted. That the woman, because of the procedures and how it was set up and done, the lady, the person just asking a question. But Jenny's self-esteem is not good, is not in a good place. So Jenny, her self-esteem begins to show. She begins to get, she gets defensive and, this is how it was done. This is not your company. You didn't set up these procedures. She just merely asking questions. Sometimes you go to the workplace and you might have to do a handover to another department and they're just asking some questions. Don't get defensive. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. And we always feel that maybe we didn't do it right or you have a problem. Somebody tell you something. No. Just asking questions. Just asking questions. But you see, if we work on our self-esteem and if we would stop taking things so personally, then we would understand from where Jenny's new supervisor was coming from. Right? And this is it. Sometimes you're talking to somebody and it's like, but how you reach there? That is not what I meant. Good? Yes, because they have self-esteem issues. And their self-esteem might be a little low. So they need to top up. Good? So more affirmations, more declarations, doing things more for yourself, really and truly feeling better about who you are. And sometimes, a lot of times, we have not accomplished a lot in life. And newer people might be coming over, taking off positions where you're supposed to have. And then your self-esteem feels diminished. Well, you know what? Do something about it. Do something. And the more you develop yourself, the more you work on yourself, it begins to build, a good self-esteem. Nice? So let's look at another scenario. Mike was not chosen to lead. he was accustomed leading in the committee, right? So Mike has always led the committee for hospitality. However, he was promoted and has been given more responsibilities with his new portfolio. When the email goes out that they would be having a meeting to discuss the format for conducting hospitality at the opening of the new hospital, Mike did not receive an email and he felt left out and distraught about it. Because of Mike's new role, he would not have been able even to be a part of the meeting because he was focusing on more strategic tasks. Sometimes we get promoted, but we're watching that we missing out, we're not part of certain activities, but you have to focus more. Your role is more strategic. Imagine that. Mike get promoted and Mike getting horrors. Yeah? Yet Mike's self-esteem was showing. Because he was not asked to lead the committee, Mike felt that he did not do a good job and therefore they needed someone else to take over the committee. What Mike did not think about is the reason why he was promoted. It was because he was doing a great job. Mike could not see beyond his self-esteem. His abilities determined his self-esteem. When that was taken away, he had nothing to stand on, and that's another thing. We always hold on to these abilities, these talents, these skills that we have, and we let that determine who we are. That is not who you are. That is not who you are. And this is something, and it's so important for us to own our feelings. It's so important for us to find out, where's this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling left out? Is it that I am insecure in this area? Is it that I feel that my self-worth is being interfered with? Is it that I don't feel valued? These are some of the things that we really and truly need to think about when it comes to our self-esteem. When things happen, when we are not chosen to be on a committee, or when we are chosen to lead, or maybe they felt that, okay, maybe you have a lot on your plate and maybe you need some time out, or you might be going through something and you just need some time out. And we really need to take a look at our self-esteem. And it's something that I always loved and admired about my dad. He would always tell us, you girls, you all are beautiful. You girls, you all are brilliant. Don't let anybody think less of you. Don't let anybody say less of you. And, you don't realize how much when your parents point to you and they affirm you, how much it builds your self-esteem, because you don't listen to the negative voices. You keep it out. And I remember one time, my apostle was giving an example in church, and he said, Caroline has some size and thing, but Caroline is very self-confident. She walks with her head up. But, I've always felt good about myself, regardless of, whether you put on weight or whether you, whatever. It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with who you are. Good? And we need to work on ourselves. We work on everything else. We get degrees. We go on, we get new vehicles. We buy homes, and we do all these wonderful things. And those things are good. But we leave ourselves undone, and we don't work on that foundation of self-esteem. So another scenario, let's look at this one. When others are progressing. Listen to this now. Jack and Mary had been together for 2 years, and they were so in love. Mary was completing her MBA, and Jack was completing his bachelor's in marketing. So she was a step higher than him. Good? Mary was growing tremendously in her career, and this affected Jack in a negative way. Imagine that. He in love with this woman, eh? Aye, aye, aye. Mary recognized what would be the outcome of their relationship, and she ended the relationship with Jack. Good for you, Mary. You all might say, oh God, Caroline, no. Mary Wise, listen to me, it is very difficult to help an insecure man. It is very difficult to help an insecure person. They have to reach to that place to really deal with themselves and help themselves. It is very difficult. You're going to always have to keep rubbing their backs. You're going to always have to keep trying to encourage them, convince them to believe you, and it's too much work. Mary said, I ain't going through that, because we are in this together. And if there's a woman you love and you behaving like that, you're supposed to be celebrating her. It's like, yeah, babe, because when she looks good, you look good. Yeah? Nice. Jack was devastated and blamed Mary for the way in which he was feeling. Jack's self-esteem was showing. Mary had nothing to do with Jack's feeling of insecurity. He was responsible for the way he was feeling, and that's our problem, you know. So you make me feel it. No, you were feeling that way all along. Good? The trigger of Mary's progress in her career brought on those feelings for Jack, and thank God that Mary was a wise woman to recognize early what was going on. Jack felt insecure. And Jack's insecurity must have come from as a child. You know, maybe he was being compared to, and that's the thing we do, parents, and that's the thing we do when we have relationship. We get into a relationship and we say, you know, like Tom, if it's one thing, you know, Tom used to bring me flowers, and Tom used to, what that have to do with me? What that have to do with anything? We compare our children to each other. When Joan was doing her C, she was more focused. What that have to do with Jenny? We do that all the time and we don't understand. We are interfering with people's self-esteem. We measure, we compare, we criticize, we interfere. No, each child is different. Each person is different. And you know, that's something I look at. I thank God that I had the opportunity of teaching young minds, you know, preschoolers. I had the opportunity of doing that. And each child was different. There were some children I had to, when we did a lesson and I gave them activities to do, I had to make sure and prepare extra activities for them because I know they would just take off and they would finish it. So I had like about 4 of them. But I didn't make them feel that they were superior to the others. No, they just had that capacity to move. And then there's some children might be slower and then they reach a certain age and they just take off. Some children might be slow at this stage and they might reach as an adult and you like, wait, this is my same child. Good. Don't do it. You're interfering with their self-esteem. You imagine you meet a big man and he don't feel good about himself. He feels so inadequate. He feels he's not good enough. His self-value is so diminished. That for me is heartbreaking. That is very heartbreaking. And we have to look at ways in which we are responsible for things we do to our employees and the things we say. You know, sometimes somebody might come in, they may not understand a procedure, but we beating them up. Oh God, you ain't get that yet? So long you're here? What that has to do with anything? What that has to do with anything? We have to be careful of what we say and how we interfere with each other's self-esteem, even as friends. Some people just slow. That's okay. They just don't get it. But that does not give you the right to speak those things over them. So let's look at our 4th scenario. When you depend on the opinions of others. Michelle was an excellent administrator. In fact, she was the best that the organization had in a very long time. However, Michelle's boss, who worked with her for the past 10 years, he had retired and she was getting a new boss who was quite different. So Michelle's old boss, he would affirm her. Everybody was so proud of Michelle. And, you know, Michelle, she relied on all those compliments and, you know, all those affirmations for years. Michelle was very dependent on other people's opinion about her ability to do her job. Hi, Pastor Margaret. When Michelle's new boss, who was also good at administration, cited some errors and inefficiencies in the system, and the way things were done, caused Michelle to feel that she was not doing a good job. You see how Michelle equated that? He just found that he was just going through and he saw some errors and some inefficiencies. That had nothing to do with Michelle. But Michelle was so dependent on her expectation of people's opinion and what they were saying. It interfered with her self-esteem. And that's why sometimes, even as bosses, we pump up employees and we make them feel superior over the others. And, you know, the minute somebody else new comes and then they are being now very critical, or they might be pointing out some real issues, you could cause that same employee to feel very low in their self-esteem. So we have to watch it, and it's a balance. Good. Michelle's self-esteem was showing. He never questioned Michelle's ability. Hi, Aline. He never questioned Michelle's ability over the years. He just had other ideas in which Arlene could, well, sorry, not Arlene, sorry, in which Michelle could work smart. That's all he was saying, and still get the results that he needed. The opinion of others over the years left Michelle feeling that she needed to depend on what people were saying. Anything outside of that caused her to feel that she was not good enough. Michelle never had a good opinion about herself, and that's the reality. That is the reality. And she relied on her abilities to make her feel better, and the opinion of others, and the opinion of how others had on her abilities. You know, sometimes we're really good at what we do, and that is what we hold on to. Anytime that is taken away from us, like we can't function, like we can't focus, listen, that ability, that skill, that talent does not determine who you are. We have to work on our self-esteem. You know, sometimes you're included in this, you're included in that, and then for me, sometimes I'm like, oh God, I could do it a little break, you know. I could do it a little break, because you're always working, you're always in the front, you're always going. I could do it a little break. So what? So what if your name not on the list? So what if you're not included? So what if it is that maybe you have been making errors? Maybe you genuinely didn't know, and you were making errors. You recognize that there were errors, not due to your fault, because maybe someone taught you the wrong way of doing it. Okay, don't let that interfere. But you see, your value, your self-worth, how you feel about you. Look in the mirror. How do you feel about yourself? No, seriously. If I was to ask you, each of you on the program and those on the replay, how do I feel about myself? Really? What would you say? What would you genuinely say? Let's be honest with ourselves. What would you genuinely say? Are there certain insecurities in your life that you have not been paying attention to? And you find yourself very defensive. You find that you get offended by certain things. And you know, that's something that I have really been, I continually to work on. Why is that trigger affecting me? Why am I feeling that way? Why have I responded in such a way that is unbecoming or negative? Good. What is interfering with my self-worth? What is interfering with the values that I believe and I have? Check out those things. Your self-esteem is showing. And sometimes you're having a conversation with people and they're taking it the wrong way, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? They don't have a good feeling about themselves, and then you come in there now and they think you bashing them. They think that you good because their self-esteem is at zero. And we have to recognize that. And sometimes, there are some children that you have to affirm them more. You have to encourage them more. You have to be there with them more. You have to kind of love them more. Not that you're loving them more than the others, but you have to pay more attention to them. Listen to me, because they never got a good foundation. And I see it with adults. And this mentorship program is teaching me so much. And it's not just for what I offer to the mentees, but it's teaching me to appreciate what I had, the foundation that my dad and my parents laid for me, and the people that surround me, the good friends I always had, and the good support I always had, because it helps your self-esteem, because we have a lot of things to do for the Lord. And if we don't work on those areas, we would remain broken. We would not be any good to anybody. You know why? Because as you begin to help people in whatever talent and ability that you have, you're going to continue to take things the wrong way, and you're going to destroy the people instead of building them up. Good? So stop taking things personally, and if you are, work on your self-esteem. But you know who can help you? C&J Training and Consultancy Limited. Oh yes, you can join our mentorship program, and we do a one-on-one. We have a mentees meetup where we come together as a group once a month, and we have good and healthy discussions, and we identify the gaps in your life, those things that you feel very insecure about, those areas where you feel very inadequate. We can work on you, we can work with you. Yes, so you can join us. Yes, you're going to have a ball. You're going to end up being a different person, because you know what? You know what is our vision and our mission statement? Developing a better you. However you come, we're going to make you better at C&J Training and Consultancy Limited. So guys, our kids mentorship, we kicked off Friday gone. It was fantastic. We had 11 children. We didn't want to go more than 15, and they had a blast. They had fun. The parents, they gave me good feedback on it. And you know, I am excited, and they can't wait for this Friday again. So it's 6 Fridays. So this is our second Friday, and we are going to be dealing with things that I believe about myself. Now, I am dealing with all these different things for the kids because I know how their self-esteem, how it works, especially with this lockdown and COVID-19. They can't be with their friends. We don't want anything to tamper with their self-esteem. So, you know, I'm really and truly working on these areas with them. The things that I believe, because you'd be surprised to know the things children believe about themselves. Yeah? So we want to look at the things that they believe about themselves and what people saying about them. You know, so many people say things about you. Do you believe that? Do you believe that negative stuff? Do you think what they're saying is true? So I want to talk to them, and they're going to do activities and, you know, really and truly help them, and for them to find out more about who they are as young as they are. It's good that they start now, because children, you know, I deal with adults and they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. You have to know who you are. Your trigger points. What irritates you? What gets you annoyed? What are some of the things that make you joyful? What are some of the things that make you feel good? What are some of the things that, these are some of the things that help you really to really and truly get to know who you are. Thanks, Aline. I love your two sons. Oh, they're so adorable. But you know, that is so important for us. As the more we get to know who we are, is the more we're going to feel better about who we are. Good. So let's work on our self-esteem. Let's work on our self-esteem. And I keep saying to you guys, if there are things that you want me to talk about, there are topics that you want me to zero in, you can send me a WhatsApp at 320-5961. You can send us an email at cannejtraining@gmail.com. I will inbox us. Say, Caroline, talk about this topic now. Talk about that topic now. We'll do the research and we will come at you. All right. So thank you always for your support. For those of you who always come on board, take your time out to come. I really and truly, yes, Unika. Okay, good. Yes. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please share. Please share. Okay. So let others hear about this. Have a great rest of the day and a great week and a wonderful weekend. See you guys next week. All right. Bye-bye.